Trevor's mother is another one of those GTA 5 mysteries that's brushed aside. We know that Trevor has a mother, and from the dialogue in the story it seems that she's still alive. But there's a very weird Strangers and Freaks mission where Trevor's mother appears in his trailer. Or at least he thinks she's there. There are theories that she isn't real and that Trevor is hallucinating her, but nobody's actually broken it down before. So that's what I'll be doing in this video, and I've likely already posted a TikTok video on this at the same time, but I can go into more detail on YouTube. I can't really do that with 35 slides on TikTok. So this Strangers and Freaks mission with Trevor's mother is interesting because it only appears at the end of the game. It's impossible for this mission to appear while you're playing the story, it has to be completed after. So that alone is interesting. Why can Trevor's mum not appear before the story is over? We'll get back to that little detail later because I believe there is a reason for that. Now, a couple in-game days after you complete the story, this question mark will appear in Trevor's trailer. From this moment, you're not allowed to enter Trevor's trailer until this cutscene has been completed. So if you attempt to, it'll throw you straight into the cutscene where Trevor runs in through the door and sees his mother.
So, you've done well for yourself.
Now this is an interesting cutscene because it's all about Trevor's guilt, how terrible he feels, and his past. Now there are a few sneaky lines throughout the story where Michael or Amanda will ask Trevor about his mother, and from Trevor's responses we know that she's not dead. And this also tells us that Amanda and Michael did know Trevor's mother before the 9-year time jump at the beginning of the story. So there are 9 years there where Trevor's mother has been out of the picture. He likely hasn't seen her for 9 whole years. During this cutscene, he mentions that he didn't know that they let her out, so it's assumed that Trevor's mother was sent to prison for something, and she's been there for the past 9 years. Obviously, she did something pretty bad to end up in prison for the past 9 years, and Trevor sounds shocked. He didn't know that they let her out, meaning he assumed she'd be in there for a very long time. But one day, she just appears in Trevor's trailer, out of the blue. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Now from this cutscene it's very clear that Trevor loves his mother, but he never wrote to her and he never visited her while she was locked up. For that he carries a lot of guilt, and that's a part of the reason why he's so upset in this cutscene. Now that's the entirety of the cutscene. It's pretty much just Trevor's guilt and her making him feel bad, but she does ask him to get a truckload of pills.
You're sick.
What can I do?
I'm in a lot of pain. I need you to get me some more Deludamol.
I can do that.
A lot of them. A truckload, literally. And not those weedy little ones. The 1,000 milligram ones. And if you find me a gentleman, well, we both know you need a father figure.
And this is where I think the answer is. I think the answer is the truckload of pills. She tells Trevor that she's in a lot of pain and she wants a truckload of Deludamol. In the game, Deludamol is an extra strength painkiller, and it can be found outside of most hospitals and pharmacies. Now it's based on the real life drug with the brand name Dilardid. Now it's pronounced Dilardid, but when you look at the word, your first attempt would probably be deluded. And that's where Rockstar got the idea to call the drug Deludamol. Deludamol, deluded. Makes a lot of sense, right? Okay, so the cutscene is over and Trevor is sent to get a truckload of Deludamol. Now once again, you can't re-enter Trevor's safe house. You cannot enter the trailer again until you've got a truckload of Deludamol. That's interesting. 2 times when we cannot enter Trevor's safe house, meaning we cannot see Trevor's mother as an NPC. But when you're standing outside of the trailer, you can hear Trevor's mother. She does have voice lines.
Have you got those legs yet? What is wrong with you, you useless boy? Sprang from these loins. If you were twice as smart, you'd still be stupid.
Once you know the full story, we'll get back to that because that's another interesting detail. Now once you find a truckload of Deludamol, you bring it back to Trevor's trailer where there is another short cutscene. Trevor will run inside the trailer and his mother will be gone.
I got the meds, Mom! Mom! I got the meds! Mom! Mom! No, Mother!
Trevor will then break down and start crying on the floor, and we will be forced to swap character to Franklin. Another interesting detail, they force us to swap character. If we then immediately swap back to Trevor, he'll be high, crying, and out of his mind. He'll mutter a few words about his mother, and then that's the end of it.
Hey babe, what's that?
We will never hear or see anything about Trevor's mum again. Okay, so let's break it down a little bit. Why would Trevor's mother just disappear before Trevor gets back with a truckload of painkillers that she said she really needed? I believe the answer to this question is very simple. It was all in Trevor's mind. She was never in Trevor's trailer. And she's likely still in prison exactly where Trevor thought she was. Now, I said earlier that the drug Deludamol is the answer, and I stand by that. Now, Deludamol is based on the brand name Dilaudid for a drug in real life, but the word Deludamol is a play on the word delusional. It's a very strong painkiller, but the entire brand is about what's happening inside your mind. Their slogan is for a night you'll never remember, and the word is referencing delusions. Having a false or unrealistic belief that couldn't possibly be true. That's what a delusion is. Something that couldn't possibly be true, like how your mother, somebody you know is in prison, is now somehow in your trailer. Now, if we take a look back at the real-life drug Dilaudid that Deludamol is based on, one of the side effects is hallucinations. Hallucinations is once again where something happens in your mind, where you see things or you hear voices that do not exist. So the pills that Trevor is sent to collect are centered around things that happened inside your mind that aren't real. Delusions and hallucinations. Now firstly, what are the chances that the drug that Trevor's mother sends him to get is centered around things that aren't real? Now secondly, we're not allowed in the trailer, we're not allowed to see her as an NPC. Why? Would it really have been that difficult for Rockstar to just create an NPC for Trevor's mother? No, it would have been easy. A good example of this is when Michael isn't allowed to go back to Los Santos, he stays in Trevor's trailer with Trevor. Now Trevor has a few solo missions where he speaks to Michael and then he goes out on his own to complete a mission.
Let's go! Man. Whoa, no, not you. Sit down. You're a wanted man. Stay low. Now watch her, okay? She's a good lady. Let's go, Ron.
Good to meet you, Michael.
Fucking come on, let's go!
During these missions, you can just walk back into the trailer and see Michael sitting there. They could have just done that with Trevor's mother, but they decided not to. They're hiding her for a reason. They didn't create an NPC for her for a reason. Now there is actually a glitch with this mission where you can get back inside the trailer and see who's saying these voice lines. Now I don't know who found this glitch, but I believe I first saw it from Dark Viper. If you complete the first cutscene where you now have to go and get a truckload of Deludamol, and then get police on you and try and push yourself through the door, eventually it will let you through. You won't see anybody inside the trailer, but then if you sleep to remove the police, get up and go towards the door, it'll start spawning maids. Now this is the game spawning an NPC to match the voice lines of Trevor's mother, because that's where she is when she speaks. But it's spawning maids because they don't have an official NPC for Trevor's mother. Rockstar never planned for her to be seen in anything other than cutscenes. Another point is, when you fully complete all of the missions, you swap to Franklin and then you swap back. When you walk outside, Trevor's truck is positioned in a very weird angle. The truckload of Deludamol is of course gone, just like Trevor's mother. Now how would you explain the truckload of Deludamol vanishing too? How would you genuinely explain that? What would you just say? Oh, Trevor went outside, drove it away somewhere and walked back? And why is Trevor's truck parked vertical up against the entrance to his trailer? He's never parked like that ever before, and it's a very weird way to park. Notice how Trevor's truck is also parked in the exact location that the mission told us to park the truckload of Deludamol, right in front of his gate. I believe everything was a hallucination, even the truckload of Deludamol. I don't think it was real. I believe Trevor was on drugs and hallucinating, and that's why his truck is parked so weirdly. He thought he was driving the truckload of Deludamol, but he was actually driving his own truck. and he was high and off of his mind, so he parked his truck vertically on his way back to see if his mother was still in the trailer. And during the time that we're forced to swap to Franklin after the mission ends, there's nothing that suggests that there's a major time jump. We're able to swap right back to Trevor. So what happened in that limited amount of time? Did Ron go out there and move the van of Deludamol and then station Trevor's truck vertically? Or did Trevor go out there, move the van of Deludamol, and then for some reason park his truck vertically? It doesn't make sense. I think during the time that we're forced to swap to Franklin, the only thing Trevor did was get high again. Because when we swap back, he's still in the trailer, he's just now high and still crying. So if the van of Deludamol isn't real, then obviously Trevor's mother wasn't real. Now, something else that I want to throw in here is Mrs. Madrazo. I said earlier that it's interesting that we're only able to complete this stranger's mission after the story is complete. And I think the reason for that is because this hallucination is linked to Mrs. Madrazo. During the late part of the story, Trevor kidnaps Martin Madrazo's wife, Patricia, otherwise known as Mrs. Madrazo.
Did you kill him?
What kind of fucking animal do you take me for? No, I didn't kill him.
Oh, fuck.
But I did kidnap his wife.
Oh, no! Oh, shit!
She remains in Trevor's trailer for quite a long time, cooks, cleans, and takes care of Trevor. Trevor has a major bond with Mrs. Madrazo.
Gasolina? No.
And he has a major bond with Mrs. Madrazo because she reminds him of his mother. She's an elderly woman who lives with him, cooks for him, cleans, and takes care of him. Now obviously Trevor's mother was cruel, she wasn't any of that, but Trevor has mother issues, so Mrs. Madrazo filled the role. Eventually Trevor has to return Mrs. Madrazo and he breaks down on the way there.
Sorry what I love. Bad is me.
I am not abandoned. I am going home.
He also gets a very random phone call from Mrs. Madrazo after the story is complete. Now I believe the reason that Trevor's mother's mission will only appear after the story is complete is because of Mrs. Madrazo. After 9 years, Mrs. Madrazo has refreshed the memory of Trevor's mother. That's all he's thinking about, a mother role, Mrs. Madrazo and his actual mother. Obviously that brings up a lot of pain and guilt for him, so he takes to drugs, something he does anyway. So I do not believe it's out of the realm of possibility that he just hallucinated everything because of the drugs that he was on. Like, come on, there's a portion of time at the end of the story where Mrs. Madrazo lives in his trailer with him and basically becomes his mother. He has to give her back, and then suddenly Trevor's mother appears in his trailer? Even if this theory isn't true, that is ridiculous timing. But at the end of the day, I think that the theory of Trevor's mother being a hallucination was very weak. I wanted to add a lot more to it, and I think I did in this video. So tell me, are you convinced that she's real or convinced that she's fake? I'm still standing by my expanded theory that she is a hallucination. But if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Give the video a like, you might as well, and have a great day.
You are a good man. I can see that.
You need your eyes examined then.